Hare Krishna, can you hear me, Isvari? Hare Krishna, can you hear me, Isvari?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes, I had trouble. No, now only I can hear you if you've been talking to me before. I have trouble connecting the audio before, but I'm going to try again with my headset.
Yeah, you know what? I think you have to try and record today's class, because when I logged on today, the whole system has told me I'm outdated and I need a completely new updated Zoom. And I didn't do that. I just jumped in via another portal. So I'm on, so I don't know if I'll be able to record or what.
No, that's okay. I'm happy to record it, Mataji.
I think it's recording already. I don't know what.
No, oh yeah, it says recording.
Yeah, so the whole Zoom thing has changed, and I'll download the new app later on.
Right.
Anyway, let's just see what we can do.
Can you hear me all right, Mataji?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Leave it recording, it's fine. I'm not sure if I can share the screen now, that's all. Because I'm not actually the host as such, I don't think. I don't know how I got in here.
No, you must be the host, Mataji, because you. Oh, anyway, you try screen sharing now and see if that helps. Works.
No, there's no option for me to share a screen. There's no option saying share screen. Just all it says is stop recording.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right.
It's a completely different setup on Zoom. So once I download the new app that it's insisting I have to use, I'll learn how to use that one.
Okay.
Can you share the screen?
Yeah, I can share the screen.
Joy. Yeah, I don't think I'm host, definitely not host, because I don't have my normal screen where I can see everybody who's entering the Zoom room. At the moment, I can see nothing. So if someone comes in with an open mic, I can't see them. I can't close their mic. Nothing.
Right. Okay, then I wonder. Let me see if I have the option of muting people. I can't mute anyone either.
And it's very unusual. Look at the time and nobody else is here. So maybe we've accidentally locked people out. I don't know.
I wonder how did that happen. Let me.
I'm gonna leave Zoom now.
Yep. Okay. I
and
will
we'll
also
start it
leave.
all again. And
Or do you want me to record it in my local desktop, or because I don't know, I don't think I
just
can
to
do
be
that.
safe, because I don't know what's going
Can
on.
only no, but Mohinder Prabhu is joining, so it should be fine.
So I'm afraid you're on your own today. I can't edit anything because I can't get the screen that will allow me to close mics.
Yeah, okay.
But that's okay.
Like, I wonder if I log in from the host account, would that help?
Yes, Ishwari, do that. Let's everybody jump out now. You log on as Samendra. Yes, please.
Right, okay, all right. But what if it also asks me to do anything like downloading new updated app or something?
Have you got the latest version? Have you got the latest Zoom version?
I don't know if I do, but I didn't receive any notification as
Now it
such.
says there's 4 participants in the room. Can you talk to
Yeah.
them and ask if they can hear and see you?
Yeah, Mohinder Prabhu,
Yes,
Rangnath
Mataji.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. We can hear you, Mataji, and see you.
Okay.
Let's just go with what we've got.
Okay. All right. So, Mataji, can you stop the recording and then start again, because we've been recording all the. I'm not able to screen share because it doesn't allow me to do that.
Same with me. Same with me. I can't screen share. So please, listeners, please find the shloka on your own device.
Yeah, it's Canto 4, Chapter 4, Text 24.
So,
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay. Once again, we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 4, Text 24. Maitreya Uvacha.
Maitreya
Maitreya
Uvacha.
Uvacha.
So I'll go word by word and then I'll do the sloka.
Which verse is
Iti
it?
Text 24, Chapter 4.
Thank you.
Iti
Iti
Advare
Advare
Daksham
Daksham
Anudya
Anudya
Satruhan
Tatruhan
Shiktau
Shita
Udichim
Udichim
Nishasada
Nishashada
Shantavag
Shantava
Tristva
Pritsva
Jalam
Jalam
Pita
Pita
Dukula
Dukula
Samvrata
Samvrita
Nimilya
Nimilya
Drig
Drik
Yogapadam
Yogapadam
Samavishat.
Samavishat.
I'll read the sloka now. Maitreya Uvacha
Maitreya Uvacha
Iti Advare Dakshamanudya Shatruhan
Iti Advare Dakshamanudya Shatruhan
Shitta Udicim Nishasada Shantavag
Sita Udicim Nishashada Shantava
Dristva Jalam Pita Dukula Shamrita
Srishtva
Jalam
Pita
Pita
Dukula
Dukula
Samrita
Nimilya Drik Yogapatam Samavishat.
Nimilya
Yoga
Drikyogapatam
Patham Samavisha.
Okay. I'll do one more time. Maitreya Uvacha
Maitreya Uvacha
Iti Advare Dakshamanudya Satruhan
Iti Advaredakshmanudya Satruhan
Kshitta Udicim Nishasada Santavak
Udicim nishasadashantava.
Spritsva jalam pitadukula samvrita. Nimilya drigyoha patam samavishat.
Nimilya drikyogapatam samavishat.
Okay. Anyone wants to go?
Maitreya Vacha.
Maitreya uvacha.
Iti advare daksham anudya shatruhan.
Iti andvare dakshamanudya shatruhan.
Shita udichin nishasada shanta.
Shita udicim nishasada shantava.
Rishtavajalam pitadukula samvrita.
Pita spritva jalam pita dukula samvrita.
Nimilya drigayoga patham samavisha.
Nimilya drikyogapatam samavishat. Maitreya uvacha.
Maitreya Vacha.
Iti advare dakshamanudya shatruhan.
Advare dakshamanudya
Pita udicim nishasada shantavak.
shita udichin nishasada.
Rishtva jalam pita dukula samvrita.
Vishvajalam pitadukula samvrita.
Nimilya drikyoga padam shamavishat.
Yogapatham
Maitre uvacha.
Maitreya Uvacha.
Idi adhavre daksham anudya satruhan.
Iti advare dakshamanudya shatruhan.
Ito udicim nisatada santavaka.
Chita udicim
Nisasada
adasham.
Estva jalam pita dukula samavrita.
Sprishva jalam pita dukula samvrita.
Nimilya dragyoga patham samavishat.
Nimilya drikyoga patam shamavishat.
Anyone else?
Maitreya Uvacha.
Maitreya uvacha.
Iti advare dakshamanudya satruhan.
Iti advare dakshamanudya shatruhan.
Ita vurichim nishasara santavak.
Shita udicim nishasada shantavak.
Rishva jalam pita dukula samrita.
Prishva jalam pita dukula samvrita.
Nimilya drigyoga patam samavishat.
Nimilya drikyoga patam samavishat.
Anyone else? Okay. We'll do word by word translation now. Maitreya Uvacha.
Maitreya uvacha.
Maitreya said,
Maitreya said,
Iti
iti
thus,
thus,
advare,
advare
in the arena of sacrifice,
in the arena of sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
daksham
daksham,
Daksham
to Daksha,
to Daksha,
Anudya,
Anudya
speaking,
speaking,
Satruhan,
Shatruhan,
O annihilator of enemies,
O
O
annihilator of
annihilator
enemies,
Shitau,
Shitau
on the ground,
on
on the ground,
Udichim,
Udichim
facing north,
facing
facing north,
Nishasada,
Nishasada
Nishasada
sat down,
sat down.
Santavak,
Shantava
in silence,
In
silence.
silence.
silence,
Pristva,
Prishtva
after touching,
After
Touching.
touching.
Jalam,
Jalam
water,
water,
Pita Dukula Samrita,
Pita
Dukula
Dukula Samrita,
Samrita,
dressed in yellow garments,
dressed
dressed
in
in yellow
yellow
garments.
garments,
Nimilya,
Nimilya
closing,
Closing.
Drik,
Drik,
the vision,
the vision,
Yoga Patham,
Yoga Patham,
Yogapatam,
the mystic yoga process,
the
mystic yoga process,
Samavishat,
Samavishat,
became absorbed.
became absorbed.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
I first read the translation. You can repeat after me. Maitreya, the sage, told Vidura,
Maitreya, the sage, told Vidura,
O annihilator of enemies,
O annihilator of enemies,
while thus speaking to her father
while thus
speaking to her
speaking to her
father,
father
in the arena of sacrifice,
in the arena of sacrifice,
Sati sat down on the ground and faced north.
Sati sat down on the ground and faced north,
Dressed in saffron garments,
dressed in saffron garments.
she sanctified herself with water
She sanctified herself with water
and closed her eyes
and closed her eyes
to absorb herself
to absorb herself
in the process of mystic yoga.
in the process of mystic yoga.
Purport. I'll just read out the purport. It is said that when a man desires to quit his body, he dresses in saffron garments. Therefore, it appears that Sati changed her dress, indicating that she was going to quit the body given her by Daksha. Daksha was Sati's father, so instead of killing Daksha, she decided that it would be better to destroy the part of his body which was hers. Thus, she decided to give up the body of Daksha by the yogic process. Sati was the wife of Lord Shiva, who is known as Yogeshwara, the best among all yogis. Because he knows all the mystic processes of yoga, so it appeared that Sati also knew them. Either she learned yoga from her husband or she was enlightened because she was the daughter of such a great king as Daksha. The perfection of yoga is that one can give up one's body or release oneself from the embodiment of material elements according to one's desire. Yogis who have attained perfection are not subject to death by natural laws. Such perfect yogis can leave the body whenever they desire. Generally, the yogi first of all becomes mature in controlling the air passing within the body, thus bringing the soul to the top of the brain. Then when the body bursts into flames, the yogi can go anywhere he likes. This yoga system recognizes the soul, and thus it is distinct from the so-called yoga process for controlling the cells from the body, cells of the body, which has been discovered in the modern age. The real yoga process accepts the transmigration of the soul from one planet to another or one body to another. And it appears from this incident that Sati wanted to transfer her soul to another body or sphere. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Sakshurunmilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishram Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakdamayam Dadati Swaptatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sakrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamsha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'll read the translation one more time. Maitreya the sage told Vidura, "O annihilator of enemies," while thus speaking to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to absorb herself in the process of mystic yoga. So here, Prabhupada mentions about the yogic process briefly, which we already learned from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8 also. Krishna says how, one leaves the body, what kind of destination one receives, and what is the process of an Ashtanga yogi to quit the body. And then also, it is said for devotees, it is not required because the devotee will automatically reach Krishna's abode. Now, we'll talk about this kind of self-immolation performed by a few other personalities, and also what is the self-immolation. And before we go to that, just wanted to give you this modern age yoga briefly. This modern age yoga, as we all know, and we discuss this quite frequently also, from Prabhupada's lecture to any other speakers of ISKCON, when we talk about this modern age yoga, most of the time we blaspheme, not blaspheme, but we chastise the process. The reason being is the modern age yoga is mainly focusing on the body, not the soul. But in the Vedic days, the ancient system, yogic system, it was mainly for promoting the soul from one body to better body, or from one planet to the better planet, whether it be the planet A, like moon planet, or just to go enjoy Somarasa and enjoy the whole opulence, or to the heavenly planet where, the same similar things, enjoyment is the main, or is the prominent thing, or going to the different body, like for example, when husband and wife very intimate, they are in very intimate relationship, they quit the body thinking of the spouse, then they reach the planet where the husband or the wife has reached. Right now, here Shiva is mentioned as Yogeshwara, the perfected yogi, or just to be precise, Prabhupada says the best among all yogis. Now, Yogeshwara, Yogeshwara. So Yogeshwara, Ishwara here, master of all yogas, that's Krishna. Can everyone please mute yourself because we don't have option to mute others. Kindly mute yourself. So coming back to this Yogeshwara and Yogeshwara definition, again, I'm repeating Yogeshwara, the best among all yogis, that's Shiva. Yogeshwara, that is master of all yogas, that's Krishna, or mystic, master of all mysticism. Now, here, Sati is destroying the body that was given by Daksha because Daksha offended Shiva. Now, in Vedic days, what they do, the women, the wives, they quit their body by entering into the funeral pyre because the husband passed away. The words coming from Daksha offending Lord Shiva, it appears that as if he, destroyed some part of Lord Shiva, even though Lord Shiva is not destructible, but still, for our understanding, so some part of Lord Shiva's honor was destroyed or killed, therefore that is dead, therefore she wanted to enter into the funeral pyre. Self-immolation, it is not a murder, it is not a suicide, it's rather a voluntary activity for a higher purpose. The suicide is also a voluntary activity to kill oneself, but there is no purpose. That is simply out of frustration, one quits the body without having any proper goal in mind. They just wanted to quit the body. And most of the people who commit suicide, they do not have, most of the time, they do not have an understanding of where they will go, whether there will be another life. If they knew all about it, definitely they wouldn't commit suicide in the first place. When they commit suicide, for example, the students, when they didn't reach enough, grades, for example, as per their expectations, they just want to commit suicide because they don't want to face the society or the parents or the relatives who would just simply chastise them, or you're not good enough. You didn't reach the target. So this kind of society is what we are living in, so-called, that rat race. It's not so-called, it is rat race. We are living in this society. We are just chasing after something, don't know what. We all wanted that happiness, but without knowing the definition of the happiness or the peace. When the person commits suicide, psychologically, serotonin, the hormone or the chemical that is produced along with another hormone also, the chemical also, when that all produced, they just make that kind of very brave, courageous decision, but they are still cowardice enough to quit the body, quit the world, quit the life and everything, the relationships and everything, because they are so much in frustration. They don't want to live any longer. And of course, we study from Shastras, one who commits suicide, they will not attain any better planet, rather they will go to the darkest regions or become hosts, not hosts, ghosts. And of course, Lord Shiva is there to looking after them. But nevertheless, they suffer. They have this subtle body, just mind, intelligence, and ego, false ego, but they do not have the gross body to enjoy anything. When a soul is present within this only subtle body, they still experience, because the mind is the storehouse of all the material desires. Therefore, the soul wanted to enjoy in one way or another, because not the soul, the mind wanted to enjoy. The soul is always Sachidananda. So when the mind wanted to enjoy, it doesn't have a proper body. It doesn't have a gross body to enjoy with. So if you want to eat gulab jamun, you don't have a mouth. You don't have this body. That's why they possess some other weak bodies with the negative energies or weak energies in the system or their aura, then this ghosts go possess those bodies so they can enjoy what they wanted to enjoy, whether it's a lusty desires or simple like eating, right? So these are the consequences of one who commits suicide without having any higher purpose. And even these politicians, force the followers to perform the self-immolation or just threaten the public or the other part of the political higher authorities that they are going to involve in self-immolation unless they receive this. It's kind of a protest as well. For protesting something, they perform this activity also. But again, they will not reach any better planets at all. They only go to the lower planets and they suffer because the self-immolation there was not for any higher purpose, right? But here, Sati, Mother Sati, is performing self-immolation for higher purpose, right? One, she doesn't want to have any more relationship with this father, Daksha, who offended her husband, Lord Shiva. And two, even she dies, she doesn't want her to die and go to any other planet because she has to take birth again, but she doesn't want to go to any other planet, but rather she wanted to go to the planet of her husband and live with her husband, right? That's why she wanted to perform this self-immolation so she can take birth for the Mount Parvata and become Parvati and become wife of Lord Shiva again. So we see Gandhari, who also entered the funeral fire or the fire that was invoked by this Ashtanga yogi Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra was counseled by Vidura after everything was done, King Yudhishthira was coronated. Krishna also imparted the knowledge to Uddhava and Maitreya, and that knowledge passed on to Vidura. Now Vidura is more enlightened to counsel. Sometimes I already mentioned this in one of my other classes also. When we go to the classes and when we are enlightened, more enlightened, then we wanted to, share that knowledge with others. So rather, not rather, but we would either share the knowledge through when we give classes or when we talk to our relatives or loved ones or public preaching or anything like that, because we wanted to share that knowledge. We are now more recharged or more realized. Similarly, when Vedra was recharged with more knowledge of transcendence, he wanted to go back again to Dhritarashtra and impart that knowledge, and he did that. Now, this time it worked because he was so heavy when he was giving that knowledge. He was chastising Dhritarashtra, saying that you are living like a dog, and a Bhima who you tried to kill, or your sons who all the company or your son and company who tried to kill Bhima, now you're sitting and eating food from him. So you don't have any honor. So you just rather you quit the body by performing Ashtanga yoga. He did not say Ashtanga yoga. He actually wanted him to do bhakti, of course, but because Dhritarashtra was not up to that level, at least something is better than nothing. And Ashtanga yogis is not ordinary either, because the austerity performed by Ashtanga yogis are far greater than bhakti yogas, because we chant, feast, and enjoy and become blissful. But in case of, but I'm not saying that the devotees are not doing any austerity. Of course, we are doing austerity in our own ways, but in comparison with physical voluntary torture that is conducted by this Ashtanga yogis, I don't think we do that a lot. Maybe we do fasting for Ekadasi, especially for Kali Yuga devotees. It's very simplified process and easy, quick, and everything achievable. And even if you quit coffee and tea, you have alternatives: South African tea, rooibos or rooibos tea, or for coffee, if you quit, you have this Caro or some caffeine-free coffee. So you have all this option, and even if you quit chocolate, you have carob in all healthier version. Healthier version of whatever we quit. So Krishna already made arrangement. So therefore, we don't have to worry about, oh, I'm quitting. What do I do? So we have alternatives, and and those Ashtanga yogis, the austerity is very heavy, and Dhritarashtra did that. And when he left the palace, for yogis, they need to be detached from the material affairs. So immediately, when he was detached, he didn't even go and inform Yudhishthira Maharaj, who was nicely taking care of Dhritarashtra. Why? Because then there will be a continuation of some relationship. He might change his mind. Who Yudhishthira might change Dhritarashtra's mind. There are possibilities. He might say, "Uncle, please stay here and do whatever you wanted to do. Please don't go." There will be some upcoming uh, the the loving exchanges between Yudhishthira and Dhritarashtra, which may stop Dhritarashtra from going and taking part in this process of yoga. Therefore, he did not even inform anybody, not even Gandhari. But of course, Gandhari, being a chaste wife, Prabhupada often glorifies her glorifies Gandhari for her chastity. She left with her husband. Mother Sita left her husband, Lord Ramachandra, when Lord Ramachandra was exiled to the forest. Correct. So the chaste woman, it's very common to go and live with their husband peacefully, wherever that may be, whether that's a forest or yogic process, like Devahuti and Kartama Muni, and Draupadi, Subhadra. But Prabhupada says in Mahabharata, it is said Draupadi also went with the Pandavas. When Pandavas quit the kingdom, Yudhishthira Maharaj said, "Well, Parikshit Maharaj is now good enough, very well qualified to take care of the world. Now let me quit." That they made the decision immediately after learning from Arjuna that Krishna disappeared from this mortal world. Therefore, Yudhishthira Maharaj made the decision. He didn't even inform his brother. He just quit. And then immediately brothers followed the elder brother, Yudhishthira, and they also did that. So they distributed all the wealth. That's what they do. When Ramachandra quit, even though it was for a temporary exile, Lord Ramachandra was made to go. Still, what he did, he distributed the wealth. That's the process. That's the custom. That's the etiquette of a king who renounces the world and goes to the forest. He shouldn't be attached to anything that he owns. Just distribute the wealth to the brahmanas mainly. So they use the wealth in a proper way, and then they know, because they are the head of the state through intelligence. Therefore, they know what exactly needs to be done. And Brahmana will not hold on to any possessions either. They distribute, but they do that in a mode of goodness. Charity in the mode of goodness, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Now, then Arjuna, everyone quit the royal life, and they went, and Arjuna was stopped at one place by Agni, god of Agni, fire, and said that, well, you're still holding on to your Gandiva bow. Please release that, because when from Gandhava forest that he was given as a gift, that Gandiva, so therefore you can't hold it. Then that was the last thing he was holding, and then he released that also, and he was asked to put it in the water, and that will be taken by Varuna, the water god, and so you don't worry about it, and then you can move on with your austerity of going. And then they all went, they passed on Himalayas, and then finally they arrived at Mount Meru, that's abode of gods, and then they started performing, and they did not talk to each other at all. And it is said in two different versions. In one version it is said that Draupadi also went with the brothers, the husbands, 5 husbands, but Bhagavatam does not say that. Bhagavatam says, Prabhupada says that Draupadi and Subhadra stayed back, even though they were all close. But they did not. The husbands did not even inform the wives, but they left, and they didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay, but they did exactly whatever that was performed by the husbands. They did that at the palace. It is said with the full austerity and renunciation. And it is also said, Prabhupada said, that they attained the destination what their husbands did. And of course, we know that they attained Vaikunta, like Bhima also. And Bhima's this the dying, art of dying is so it's worth glorifying, and we also learn so much from that. One thing though, for devotees, you do not need to see any auspicious day or time or anything like that. And still, sometimes we do follow those rituals. For example, when Shravan needs to be performed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, excuse me, he did go to the Gaya and he did perform those for his father, the late father. And that was in Kali Yuga. And so we shouldn't be thinking too much on whether arguing like an atheist or theist, or should I do this, should I not do this. Sometimes being a devotee, we go to the extremist of become an extremist, like an atheist, saying that I don't have to look at this or that, no auspicious timing. No, it's okay. We follow the auspicious rituals also. So you look at my father used to do when he goes out for the day for his business and everything. He asked whoever in the house. He would ask not everybody. If I am there, he would ask me only, because I was the youngest daughter. He had 3 daughters, but one passed away when she was 19. But I was the youngest. But whoever is there, we all females in our house, my mom and 3 daughters, right? So he would ask me to carry a pot full of water to the brim and then just go across. When he comes out of the house, I just need to walk across him, just to pass. And then that brings all auspiciousness. And also he waits for the crow to cross from left to right. But if he sees a cat crossing from left to right or right to left, he just comes back home, sits down for a few minutes and takes some water, and then he leaves the house. So I never stopped him from doing whatever he was doing. I never questioned him either. So I thought, okay, he is just invoking some auspiciousness or fortune for his day to become good. But after becoming devotee, now they just pray to Narasimha and they just say Hare Krishna Narasimha and leaves for the day. But now father is retired. But still, when they go out, they just pray to Narasimha for protection. And so, see, our faith, we need to have faith. It is like Lord Shiva is faith and Daksha is like a logic. And when we are confused, in a confused state, then we should not look at the logic, but the faith. And that's what Mother Sati did as well. For the faith, she wanted to quit the logic. Right? So we shouldn't hold on to the logics and saying, oh, it doesn't make sense or anything. Just leave it as they are, whatever the Vedic rituals say. But we are not doing for fruitive results. Right? Whatever we are doing to enhance our bhakti. Even if we go to the Devatas temples, we know what to pray. We know what to say, right? And it's nothing wrong with going there either, which we discussed it many times also. It's no point discussing it again and again. But we know when we go to Devatas place, we do go to, but not like we don't take that effort and go purposely. But when situation comes, and when we are going there, then we pray, of course, for our bhakti, right? Progression in bhakti. And coming back here, Mother Sati also wanted to look at the north, right? When Bhishma left the body, he was waiting for Uttarayan. Dakshinayan is said that it is very inauspicious, it's negativity, but it's the opposite for Uttarayan. So that's why Bhagavad Gita also says that for yogis, they do that. And the soul leaving the body from the top part of the body is said to be auspicious. and leaving the body in the daytime is suspicious. And if I'm not wrong, correct me if that was not the case. My understanding is leaving the body during the daytime. So Uttarayan is more like daytime for the demigods. For the demigods, 6 months of demigod is 1 day for us, correct? And that 6 months they sleep. That means for them it's 12 hours, right? They just sleep for a night. That is 6 months. That is Dakshinayan for us. And when they wake up, what they do, they with all the they just invoke all the auspiciousness. They go and worship Narayana. Kaushalya, Subrava, Rama, Purva, Sandhya, Prabhattate. That invoking the Lord from the sleep, waking up the Lord from the sleep. So they all go and worship the Lord, and it's all in mode of higher sattva guna, right? If not in complete pure goodness, but at least definitely in higher state of sattva guna, not just sattva guna. So when the demigods go and worship, and of course when they worship it becomes pure goodness, but normally during the day they perform a lot of sattva guna activities, right? And that is Uttarayan for us, and that brings all auspiciousness. So yogis who perform this activity for quitting the body, then they wait for the auspicious time. Why quit the body when they have the ability? And Bhishma is receive the boon as Ichha Mrityu. That means he can wish death at his will. So he can die at any point at any time he desires, right? Because he pleased his father Santanu, so that's why he received the boon. But nevertheless, he was due the leader of the sages, eight Vasus from previous lives, and they were cursed because they stole or tried to stole the cow from the Muni. Therefore, versus the Muni, I believe. So they were cursed to take birth in the mortal world. That time, Ganga Devi also was cursed. But one place it says she was cursed, but another place no. Because what happened was Santanu in his previous life, he was a great king. He achieved the heavenly planet because when he was sitting there, when there was a wind, the upper garments was just moving. That time everybody in the arena went down their head, but then this king who achieved the higher planet due to his piety, he was still looking at Ganga Devi because he was so mesmerized and fell in love with her and forgot to take away his eyes from her. And that actually agitated the higher personality in the arena. And I think Brahma or somebody, they cursed the king to take birth again to the earth planet. But because of his piety, they were told that it will be only one more birth for him, and then he will not take birth again. But then still he has to go back to earth planet for one lifetime. And then he said, well, can I choose where can I take birth? And they said, okay, you take birth as, I mean, he asked, he checked whoever the pious king was, the greatest in piety, the king greater in piety. Then he found out Pratipa, King Pratipa. Then they approved that desire. Okay, fine, you can take birth as a son of Pratipa. And that time, when he takes birth, the Vasus, other 7 Vasus also need to come back, right? So they have to go back to their original abodes. For that, they also take birth. Then now, where they can take birth? They can take birth as the son of Pratipa's son, that is Santanu's son. And who can be the mother? Then they decided, okay, Ganga, you can be the mother. Then she became very excited because she also had a desire or the love towards Santanu. When he was in the higher planet, he was a different king. So she also had the desire. So she was very happy. Okay, I can be the mother. And then that's how they all came. Then that's why Ganga Devi immersed the children as soon as they were born. She put all the Vasus, 7 Vasus into the water, the Ganga water, and then they all went back to their abodes. But when Santanu questioned, that was the last son, that was Bhishma, right? And then he has to, stay back because of the reason the curse was like that. Nevertheless, he was blessed that he will be very powerful and virtuous and everything, or he will possess all the good qualities. And then we know Bhishma and what are the good qualities he possessed and how he led his life and everything we know. Now, why he was waiting until Uttarayan when he is a devotee of Parthasarathi? So everyone has a desire to worship Krishna in our own ways. And for Bhishma, he liked the way the Krishna in Parthasarathi form. But at the time of death, he wanted him to be in 400 Narayana form. And he gave Vishnu Saharashanam to Yudhishthira Maharaj. But why he wanted to wait until Uttarayan? Because for us, again, we don't need to follow, right? Again, we learn from these personalities. It is in Dwapara Yuga, almost nearing Kali Yuga. He wanted to wait until Krishna comes to his place, and he knew that he has a service to perform for Krishna. So he shouldn't quit the body anytime. He could have quit the body at any point of time, even before, right? But he did not do that. He wanted to wait until the service is rendered to Lord Krishna. So that service was on the deathbed, right? And he still was happy to do that. And when he was lying, when Shikandi, again coming to the self-immolation, Shikandi is none other than Amba from previous life, right? And when Ambika and Ambalika were taken away from the Suyamvara, from the king of Kashi, from the assembly hall by Bhishma, to marry them to Vichitravirya, right? Satyavati's son, Vichitravirya. He brought them to the Hastinapur, and Ambika and Ambalika were okay to marry Vichitravirya. But Amba said, no, I am in love with Shalva king. I wanted to go back to him. Then Bhishma said, okay, I'll take you back. When Bhishma took Amba to Salva, he said, no, because she was taken away. I was first of all humiliated. I was also in the assembly hall in the Swayambara. I was humiliated by the act of Bhishma. Second of all, when some other man took my lover, then she could no longer be my lover, therefore beloved. Therefore, I reject her. Then Amba said, now she has to get married. Then she was suggested to marry Vichitravirya only. Okay, then they again came back to Hastinapur. Now asked Vichitravirya, and he said no. First of all, she was in love with somebody, and she doesn't. She didn't like me. Like, first of all, she said no. She wanted to go, and then she came back. No, I can't marry her. Then Bhishma was quiet. She doesn't know what to do. Then Amba became so furious, and she cursed Bhishma. Now I have nowhere to go. Right? Any other king would say that those days. Right? This day is different. Right? But those days it's totally different. When another man, that's why Krishna, when he saved 16,100 queens from the demon, then the ladies said, well, they were princesses. And they said, no one will marry us. You have to marry us. But that was all the plan of Krishna. But again, that's how it goes, right? The one king will not accept the woman that was seen or touched or taken away by another. That's why Arjuna was told to kidnap Subhadra. And that's what happened to Devayani and Sarmishta also. And Devayani was when she fell into the well and she was saved by the king, Yayati, and she was naked. Therefore, she can't be married by any other person. Therefore, Yayati has to marry her. So these were a common thing those days. These days, the women actress in the movies, we shouldn't even be talking about that. And that's why Prabhupada says the actress who behaves in such a way, showing off their body to the public eyes, then they take birth as trees. That's what happened to Nalakuvara and Manikruva, which we discussed also, because they were naked and did not respect Narada Muni, so Narada Muni cursed them to become trees. So Amba also did self-immolation. But she did austerity for 12 years before she quit her body, and she prayed to Lord Shiva, and then Lord Shiva gave the boon, okay, you will take birth in the next life to kill Bhishma. And then she did that, and then Shikandi and Arjuna killed Bhishma. And Bhishma says, when so many arrows coming from Arjuna and Sikandi, and Bhishma could recognize these arrows are Arjuna's. So this, I am quitting my body from Arjuna's arrow, not Sikandi's. But still, Shikandi was the cause of Bhishma's death. That was her boon, and that was the curse for Bhishma. And then he quit the body. But before quitting the body, he wanted to worship Lord Krishna in a Narayana form, and then he prayed, and then he was told to give Dharmashastra to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he did that. And also Vishnu Sahasranam, out of love for Krishna, he did that. And then he peacefully, happily quit the body by looking at Lord Krishna. And we don't have to look at Lord Krishna and quitting the body for devotees, but he perfected that also. For worldly success, one who quits the body in auspicious time, that's success. That's called success. But for devotees, remembering Krishna and quitting the body is a success. You don't have to wait for Uttarayan. But he did that as a yogi, he was a sage, and he followed that also. But because that is the time, that 10th day in the Kurukshetra war, he waited and he performed his service, and that also reached the Uttarayan. But then what happened was, the demigods in the sky, celestial beings in the sky, when he fell on the ground, because of a lot of arrows shot at his body. So on his arrows on his body, the gap was only 2 fingers gap, like this, and every part of his body was covered with arrows. And then when he lay down on the ground, his head was going down because it was not flat. His body was flat, but his head was going down like this. Then he told Arjuna that I need a pillow, Arjuna. So look at me how I am laying down. Then Arjuna understood the desire of Bhishma Pitamaha. Then he shot the arrows that stuck on the ground, that just gave the lift to the head to stay flat, equal to the level of the body. So then Bhishma was happy to see that. And Bhishma also wanted to wait for the coronation of Yudhishthira Maharaj and see him in the kingly attire, because he saw so many undue sufferings that they went through, the Pandavas. So he wanted to wait for that also. And Sita also quit her body going into the earth, but that was not self-immolation as such, as the fire, but she also did that. And then Vedavati, I discussed the story also in one of the previous classes. So Sita Mata was Vedavati in the previous life, and when she was touched by Ravana, she was a great lady ascetic, and performing austerity, but he wanted to enjoy with her. When he touched the hair, then he immediately cut the part of the hair that was touched by him. Not only that, see, she went even one level higher. Then the Shati was quitting the body that was given by Daksha, so that was the part of the body she quit. Now, the hair that was touched by Ravana, Rakshasa Ravana, that you don't need it anymore, that became inauspicious. So she cut the part of the hair, that locked hair. But then she didn't stop there. She wanted to quit her body also. She did that by invoking the fire. But she cursed Ravana that I will be the cause of your death. I'll take birth. I'll be the cause of your death. And then when Ravana was in trouble, like when Vanara army hit him, not hit him, but attacked and killed so many powerful warriors on the side of, even Indrajit was killed. Then he became very morose. Then he did realize, constantly he was realizing now and then there was so many curses he accumulated. Couple of them were the king who cursed him and said, one of my descendants will come and kill you. And that was Raghava from Raghu dynasty, that is Lal Ramachandra. And then Vedavati also, who when she quit her body, she cursed and then quit the body. And then curse was, I will be the cause. Then that was Mother Sita, because he fell in love with Mother Sita, and then he kidnapped her, and that became the cause of the battle. And Ravana realized it, but he never had an idea to surrender to the Lord. That was his mistake. And Parikshit, when he quit the body, he also was quit. It was not his choice, but of course, initially it was not his choice, but he could have counter curse. But then he took that as a will of the Lord, and then he accepted the curse. And then when he quit the body, he remembered the Lord. He heard the Bhagavatam. So we talked about all these characters when they quit the body. We see the difference between the non-devotees and devotees. That when Bharata Maharaj quit the body, also he remembered the deed, but the next time he did not. Then he attained the abode, higher abode, Krishna Loka or Vaikuntha Loka, based on their level of affection with the Lord. But Amba did not, right? And now Mother Sati, being a chaste wife, went back to Shiva again. So Prabhupada says on one of the purports, when you remember the Lord, sorry, not the Lord, the husband, you take birth as a man. But if your affection is intimate and if you have accumulated a lot of piety, the higher chances are you go to the Patiloka. Wherever the Pati goes, you'll go to the Patiloka. Okay. All right. I'll stop here. And if any questions, comments, or corrections, please let me know. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much. You
Hare
covered a lot
Krishna.
of similarities between Sati Mata's sacrifice and other similar thing. I like them very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
You did a lot of homework. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, Ishvari, thank you so much for today's class. What Mahinda Prabhu just said about you doing so much homework was very evident. Thank you so much for doing the research that we don't have to. I really appreciated all of those Bhagavatam examples that you brought forth. And really, I have to say, I really appreciated that very clear distinction around self-immolation being of a higher purpose as opposed to suicide, which is motivated by not a higher purpose. So that was really, really nice. And actually, can I just say, can you stay on the line after the class ends so that we can sort out Zoom?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you very much for your nice class, Mataji. And as both the previous person said, you've done a lot of work to figure out all these different episodes and figure out the thread in all of these and nicely explain. One point I thought in terms of the difference between simulation and the practices that are shown over here. Yes, especially in the case of both Dhritarashtra and Sati, both of which describes the process of yoga, they are able to actually utilize the fire that is present in the body to do it, not using an external thing. And that is the ability of their yoga practice, not using something external. So that was one other distinction that I thought. So because when we talk about self-immolation, otherwise it's always there's an external fire in which you throw your body into it. Whereas in this one is they are using the power of the fire in the body to do it. And that is like requires so much of practice to be able to do something like that. And the same thing with others as well. When we talk about in yoga also, when they are able to transmit, as Prabhupada describes over there, to bring it up to the highest point and leave that body through the top of the body, usually breaking open the skull and leaving it. That is again a very rigorous practice is required to be able to do, because that is supposed to be the highest for the yogis. to not leave through any of the other holes of the body, but actually block everything up, and then, like with their yogic power, they break open their skull and they leave through the top of their heads. So
Yes.
that's
Correct.
again, because a lot of people will think, oh, they are self-immolating. This self-immolation is very, very different in terms of that yogic process.
Yes.
And one other point that I was also thinking was that this is very, like, this part of this is similar to the aspect of tapasya, which is the dharma for the age of Satya Yuga. So there is that tapasya also gives them that power and that thing to do. So probably we can also look at it from that angle, that
Yes.
it was the dharma of the age when this did happen. Of course, day before yesterday's class, Janakraj Prabhu was asking, I haven't still managed to do any research on when exactly this happened, in what time period or what. But again, if we consider that Satya Yuga, or also we can also think about from the perspective of Sati's position, that obviously she is the highest being, therefore she is on the highest level, and in the highest level she obviously has this abilities already inbuilt into her, that she does not actually have to acquire any of this, and therefore she is utilizing. Just a few thoughts on
Yes.
what you were saying, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. All very valid, good points of reminding us the connections also. And I missed Janagraj Prabhu, that particular research question. My understanding and learning is for Sati and Shiva, they do not abide to these kind of yuga process, Satya Yuga or Treta or Dwapara. Please correct me if my understanding or answering is not connected with the question. But with the Sati self-immolation, nothing to do with the Yuga Dharma, because they are in a higher platform and their pastimes, their leelas are occurring at any time, at any point of time. And they are, and this is also the creation time at the beginning, it could be. But again, this is not to do with the Satya, Treta, Kali or Dwapara, because demigods also there in the heavenly planet, and for them and their activities, for Dharmaraj, Yamaraj performing things in the in a hellish planet, he does that throughout creation. So it doesn't stop them from whether it's Kali or whichever yugas. And we know King Nriga went to the hellish planet. This is in Dwapara Yuga, and Yamaraj asked whether you want to go to the hell or heaven, because you have accumulated a lot of piety for hellish life, suffering very short, but the heavenly would be longer. Which one you want to choose? When he chose to go to the hellish suffering, then he was made to become a lizard in the will, and then he was liberated after that. But so coming back with the services performed by the Devadas or Maya personified Sati or Lord Shiva, that will not be in the inside or in the realm of Yuga Dharma. It's beyond that. So they have all the abilities as a yogi, and they can perform whatever according to their abilities, but definitely they are higher beings, superior beings, therefore not like us, that because we have to do all these things. But again, to become that post also, they should have performed these type of austerity, not Shati or Shiva, but for Brahma or Indra, to become that position, then they should have performed some piety in the planet in any yugas. But yes, in Satyuga, they have more ability of doing more tapasya in a vigorous way, but not so much in Kali. But yeah, I should stop here. Thank you, Prabhu Medha Prabhu. Those good points.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, there's just one thing I wanted to add to that. The Bhagavatam is not given in chronological order. It's given in terms of the topic that is being discussed, and any episodes are pulled in from one place or other to try and explain a certain topic. So therefore, sometimes you will see that some episodes do not have any time given to it, because those are just points which are mentioned from a certain incident. Now, certainly those incidents happen in a certain point in time. So Daksha's episode did happen at some point in time, but it's not given because it's not probably considered important. Because chronology is not what we are trying to discuss. We are trying to discuss the topic itself. And so as far as your comment goes in regards to Sati and Shiva, whatever they do is beyond the purview of time. But that is true. But at the same time, they are the incidents that happened, just like the incident that happened with Daksha was certainly a certain point in time. So therefore, there may be a history of when, but so many times, just like Srila Prabhupada also says that there is a history certainly of when we came back to the material world, but we don't. Our purpose is to just look at how we're going to get out of here, rather than trying to trace the history. Even when we get sick, there is a history to that, but we don't know how we got sick. But we don't trace out the history of how we got it. The most important thing is to get well.
Yep.
So with that perspective, sometimes the time frame is not considered.
Important.
When it really happened. Sometimes for us in our material conditioning, we need to know this in order to understand properly in perspective certain things. We may need to know when certain things happened. That is also true. But when it's not considered important, then it may not be given. That's
Yes,
all I
Prabhu.
want.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, everyone, for patiently staying on to the class. And those who shared their knowledge, thank you very much to them also. And Kandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Hare
Her Grace
Krishna.
Isvari Laxmi Priya Mataji ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Don't go anywhere, Isvari.
Thanks, Mataji, for reminding. I was about to leave.
Yeah, don't. You stay there.
Yeah.
Let everybody else go.
Okay.
Actually. So what happened this morning?
Okay, Mataji, we leave because it's recording. So we leave and then
Oh,
we'll.
no, I'll stop it.